Let's take you to the Methodist Church in Bryanston for Billy Masethla's funeral. The former tourism minister, Lindiwe Sisulu, is speaking.
He generated that around everybody else that was with him. I met Billy when both of us were mentored by Comrade Joe Gabi upon his release from prison. This included Zweli, it included Super, it included Vincent, it included Pumza, it included myself and many more. I'd initially been in contact with Comrade Thabo, and I lived with him in Swaziland, and he used me considerably to bring messages over to people like comrades in the ANC. I shan't mention them. But by the time that I was closely relating to this group, which was core around Joe Gabi, I was now with Chris Hani in Lesotho. And I was the conduit between the two of them, the two countries. I emphasize this because I want to indicate for those historians that our influence as the ANC was very integral to the uprising that we had in 1976. Current historians want to write us out of that particular space because they do not know the whole truth. We were very integral in mobilizing, as you have heard from all of those who stood up here and indicated how the COSAS team had worked around this particular plan. I was arrested. I was part of this team with Joe Gabi, and I was arrested before D-Day. We'd already worked out when D-Day was going to be. And when I was detained, I was not so much pained by being detained, but by the fact that I was not going to be there when D-Day occurred. And of course, D-Day occurred 2 days after I was arrested and thrown into some filthy cell in John Foster. The day the youth took over the country, the world shook. And we who were behind bars were so proud. So proud. By then, there had been a wholesale swoop that was conducted and thrown into prison in John Foster. And this included Billy's current brother-in-law, Temba. It included Balega's brother, Mpagama. It included Comrade Khalema, it included Stan Ngosi, it included Zinji Vangondo, and many more that I might not have mentioned now, but they would know themselves. When this bubble spread out, when the revolt bubbled into the open, we forgot that we were in prison. And it was like Christmas, and we were the Sunday school children. Despite the fact that we were all in solitary cells, we found a way of expressing to each other our great joy that finally the revolution had come. However, the viciousness of the police doubled after this, and it spilled over to all of us who were detainees. And by this time, we were joined by eminent people like Comrade Khalema, Stan Ngosi, and we felt blessed. We were all in one place. Didn't matter what circumstances we lived in, but our circle was growing, and we felt emboldened that we're going to make it. The revolution is nearby. June 16 changed the course of history, and that is why I wanted to start there in making sure that we understand that behind most of what was happening, the ANC was there. Years later, we met again with Billy, who was sent to serve in the ANC offices in London, in Penton Street, and by then we were both trained intelligence officers. And the happiest day for Billy was when his first newborn baby was born. And somehow, because he'd not been trained in this, he didn't understand that when a baby is born, one of the first things it does is either gurgle or pass out all the things in the stomach. And he lifted the baby up threw the baby up, and the baby did as all babies did, all over Billy's face. With all that on his face, he still beamed, and he was the happiest man. I'd never seen him so happy. Billy and I were together in London, and he was representing us at the London HQ, so this is not the first time that he's a diplomat. But we felt that when I saw Billy there, I felt that finally our generation was being recognized. He was a diplomat and very important person. He was at that particular time because he represented us too as the intelligence community. Finally, we came back into the country. I'm skipping a bit now because of time, but I just want to go back a bit earlier on. I want to say that after Billy had left, I think, and after my release from detention, Comrade Joe Gabi and a few others were arrested. And unfortunately, amongst them were people who really were victims of the vengeance of the Afrikaners. I went to see them at the trial, and Comrade Joe Gabi said to me, "Please find this particular lawyer for us because we must get out of this." And I'd just come out of prison. I didn't know any lawyers. None had attended to me. So I went to a fellow detainee who was Lindiwe Sisulu and said, "Look, I'm looking for this particular lawyer, and he has a Shanganish surname to him. I'm sorry to use it that way." So I thought Lindiwe Sisulu would know him. So Lindiwe said, "No, man, you know, the only Shanganish person I know who's in the legal fraternity is somebody that I know, a friend of mine, and I'll take you to him." He took me to him, and this was a lawyer who was apprenticed to a firm of lawyers, and that's how I met Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa for the first time. He too didn't know how to find the lawyer and say, "Look, we came to you because we thought, the surname sounds very much akin to your relatives, that clan, so please help us find this man." He helped us find the man, a very good lawyer, because we actually had good returns out of the trial, and Comrade Joe Gabi was released. So a spectacular job was done out of that. After that, we all skipped the country. Super, Vincent, and all had skipped the country. Some of them has been indicated, went to Botswana, I think. And I made up my mind that I would follow the Swazi route because that's where I had grown up. Later on, when the ANC managed to put together all its systems, I found myself working again with Billy under Comrade Philiso Mzwayi. A real verkrampte revolutionary he was. We had to look like we were serious about each other. Oh, Billy is like that. Billy, you must do something about your stomach. All of those things. We're the first contingent to come back into the country and establish the security and intelligence department to make sure that we can create all the necessary security clearances for all the riffraff that has come here to talk to you about where they've been. We had to do that. Billy led our team from Shell House, and most of us, after that, were deployed in negotiations to back up our various responsibilities. Billy was so finicky about information that wherever he could, he made sure that there was an intelligence officer. But I'm certain you can look around you, there would not be many. But if Billy was here, he'd make sure, okay, next to Figile, there must be an intelligence officer. Next to so-and-so, there must be an intelligence. Next to the President Wamaloba, there must be an intelligence officer. Just so that as we leave here, we go away, we have a report about exactly what it is that we got out of here. I'm fast forwarding now. I was Billy's minister when I was Minister of Intelligence. And I'd never been so proud in my life, because all the people who worked around me were from the same stable, loved the country, were prepared to die for the country. But the worst thing happened to me. They wake me up one night and they say, all three of us have been fired. And I said, no, it must be a nightmare. They said, yes, all three of us have been fired. So I thought, okay, fine, let's go and plead our case. And we did try to plead our case, but unfortunately all three of them were dismissed. I could not believe this, because here were three of the most passionate people I've ever worked with, some of the most trusted in our community. However, I'm fast forwarding. It did seem that Billy's particular penchant for making sure that things go right did not go well with most of the people who were with him. Billy became a DG of Home Affairs. And what he didn't know is that the real DG in Home Affairs was not him, but the special advisor to the Minister, Buthelezi. So it looked like he was overstepping his mark and taking decisions that a former minister as legal advisor Ambrosini would have preferred. So he was stripped of his constitutional responsibility as a DG. It was the first time in our history that we realized that our constitution does allow a minister to strip a DG of his responsibility. I didn't do it to mine, which is why some of them are still here. But Billy just happened to walk in that unfortunate path all his life. And he suffered this with such grace. He bore no grudges to anybody. He just said, it's part of my lot, and I'll take it on. By the time Billy, about 10 years ago, was working from Lutuli House, you could see how most of these experiences had drained him. And he bore it with such fortitude, because it was Billy. And because he loved all of you so much, he was willing to take all the pain that he went through. Billy went through a lot of pain for us all to be here together today. And for all of you, Billy, you're the greatest friend, one of the greatest revolutionaries of our time, our age, an extraordinary human being. We thank you for everything. We thank the family for giving us such a great man, so loved by all. In fact, so loved by all that we all were challenging, no, I'm a better friend to Billy than you. I think Cyril was one of those challenging that, and somebody else, and Walega there. And we all thought, no, I'm closer to Billy than you are. Because he was such an uplifting man, very concerned about other people's well-being more than he was about himself. But we loved him. That's why we fought over him. He had a huge heart, huge enough for all of us. And he had his hearty laughter that whatever it is he was laughing at, whether you understood it or not, you joined in because it was so infectious. His wisdom was way above his age. Way above his age. And I salute him as my leader. Billy, I loved you. I will love you tomorrow. I will love you. I'll be there for your family. I'll be there for your children, Dibuo. I'll be there tomorrow and any other day that you need me, because this is a part of my life. My life would not have turned out the way it did had I not had a friend like Billy, who looked after me, watched my back, and made sure that I took the right step, even when he took the wrong step or an unfortunate step. To his children, you inherit a responsibility to live in your father's shadow. But there's a space that should inspire you every day you wake up. I had a great father. And I too will be great. Osipuo, you could not have asked God for a better brother. Neither could I have asked for a better friend. Lynn, I know the pain you've lived through. Billy loved you very much. Billy lived for you. You were his barometer. Is Lynn going to like me looking like this? Is Lynn going to like me with my pot belly? What is Lynn going to say about this? That should comfort you every day. I know what you've been going through this past week. And I hope to God that you'll find some solace in all the people who are here gathered to say to you they loved Billy. Because Billy was such an inspirational leader. Through all his difficult times, he endured because he believed in the ANC. And to all his friends here, please can we manage Billy's legacy? Comrade Mbalula, we will all be there when you give Billy an honor from the ANC. To the Masetlha family, thank you for this precious gift. To Comrade President Wamaloba, Comrade Khalima Mutante, thank you for the honor that has been bestowed on Billy today. Thank you to the province. Kuku was very worried when Comrade Khalima and I sat behind closed doors for 3 hours. She kept checking, are they still alive or have they strangled each other? This is what we were doing, Kuku. Thank you very much for the time that you gave us. Thank you, Comrade Khalima. Thank you to everybody who's here to give the kind of tributes that you've given to Billy. He was an extraordinary man. And I stand here feeling like I stand in the shadow of a man who was greater than his age. And unfortunately, nobody realized that. As it happens, we only realize it when he's gone. Billy had a tough, tough life. And we in the ANC could have made it better for him. And I hope we will leave here having made a commitment to ourselves that we will look after each other. Because it is so important. Coming here to praise Comrade Billy when he suffered and we were there doesn't make it any better for us. And to all the women in this room, I love you all. And I wish the best for you. And to all the men in this room, take a leaf from Billy. He was a real man. Thank you very much to all of you.
Former Tourism